what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Foot Candle Films. Film news and reviews from two guys who really like movies.
This episode is brought to you by the Foot Candle Film Society. For a schedule of upcoming screenings and membership information, visit the Society's website at www.footcandle.org.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Foot Candle Films here on the Mesh.tv podcast network. My name is Alan Jackson. With me across the table is Chris Fry, and we are the co-directors and co-founders of the Foot Candle Film Society and the annual Foot Candle Film Festival, which, Chris, is that coming up anytime soon? I'm not sure.
Yes, it is. It'll be here before you know it.
Yeah,
We're recording on the 8th, September 8th, and it actually kind of gets rolling officially the 16th. We have a film live on the 15th. So, yeah, it is coming.
It is coming.
Yes.
So anyway, we'll give you the website and information about that a little bit later in the show. But yes, film festival time is here. But that doesn't stop us from still taking time out to watch movies and to give you a review, as we will do in today's show. So every time we get together, we have a featured film that we're going to be discussing and reviewing for you, sharing our thoughts. And then we'll get in a little bit later as well into some movie news. And I think maybe a trailer I might sprinkle in, a new trailer for a film we're kind of interested in finding out about. Chris may have a recommendation to share of a film he thinks is worth checking out as well. So we'll do all that a little bit later. But we are going to get to our first and main part of the show, which is the review. Today we'll be reviewing the film Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. Another one of the long building title sequences that we have in our movies these days. They seem to get longer and longer with more words in the title, it seems like. But that is, of course, as you can probably tell from the title, the latest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. We'll be discussing that in our review in just a second. So, Chris, are you ready to get started as we go into Under the Sewers to do a little discussion about the Turtles?
Cowabunga, don't they say that?
That is a thing.
Did they say that before Bart Simpson or...
I don't know.
Okay, I don't either. Well, they do say it, though.
Now, that question's going to be burning me all day now until I find out the answer. But yeah, let's discuss it. Maybe we'll figure it out in a little bit. Let's go ahead and get into our review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem.
Boys, where have you been? We're just running errands.
That's it?
Look, we're really sorry, Splinter. Some of the guys wanted to get pizza, and I tried to talk them out of it.
You ratted us out.
Hey!
Don't use that word that way.
I mean, it's 2023.
Sorry, Dad.
Hey, guys, if we weren't monsters that were shunned by society and we could do what we wanted, what would you guys do?
Go to high school. Maybe get a girlfriend.
Can you imagine that?
Not likely.
Chris, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles kind of came into existence in pop culture. I think it was around 1990, if I remember correctly. I think there was a comic book, which was kind of the first iteration. Then it turned into a cartoon series. Then it turned into a movie series. And all of that hit, I think, early 90s, kind of when that all kind of big started blowing up. There's been many, many versions of cartoons and movies of these characters over the last 30 some years, 35 years. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm not a fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a concept. Okay.
there's no way turtles could be ninjas.
I'm pretty sure I know that that's not possible, but it's it just kind of hit at an age where I was, 18, 19 years old. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not into this. This is not my bag. And so I can't even tell you if I even really sat through any of the movies at all.
Okay.
I might have gotten dragged to the theater to go see the first one for some reason. I don't know why, but I feel like maybe I've seen the first original one a little bit. But there again, I just the characters, the style of the movies, I've not had any interest. And I absolutely have not seen any of them since then.
Okay.
Now, my son, I think, might have had one of the one of the ones on DVD that came out, like the CGI version, animated one.
Okay.
Back when he was growing up. But that was about it. And again, I didn't sit down and watch it. So that's all to say. Look, I'm not a fan. When you told me, hey, this is a film we should review because we need to discuss this film, I'm not enthusiastic. So I went in trepidatiously to see Mutant Mayhem. Not terribly excited.
Sure.
It is a film. It was written by Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, and Jeff Rao, which they have been working on various projects before. Before this one, this is one that seems to be a little bit of a passion project for them to want to get into this universe and reestablish the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for today's audiences. So the film follows the Turtle brothers as they work to earn the love of New York City while facing down an army of mutants, all head up by one titled Superfly. So with that, Chris, big lead up. I've already set my position up on this film before I get into my review of it, but I want to hear your thoughts. What did you think of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem? Is it making you a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan? Or were you already a fan and I just didn't know this about you and you it just continues that passion for this franchise?
I was a fan of the video arcade game.
Oh yeah, I do remember
and
that.
Played it.
It's the one where you could play 4 people
Yes,
and all.
you could choose your turtle.
Because there are 4 turtles.
Right. I was a fan of that. The show, I do remember the cartoon briefly. I maybe caught a few episodes. I don't know, like you, if I've ever seen the movies. If so, I think maybe I saw the first one at like a dollar theater.
Yeah.
I am aware that apparently Vanilla Ice is in the second film.
He's in Secret of the Ooze. And the only reason I know that is because I know I believe his song, The Turtles Rap, was big on MTV when that movie came out.
Okay.
So I saw the music video plenty of times. Never saw the movie, though.
Got you. And I'm sure you still hum the song all the time.
I could not tell you the first bar of that song now, so unfortunately.
So you referenced how I was like, hey, Alan, when I was coming to choose a movie for this week, I was like, hey, we should probably see this. I had heard, originally, when I saw the trailer in theaters, I had no desire. I was kind of surprised. I knew there had been several movie versions. I was like, really? They're reviving this. That's interesting. I don't know who their target audience is, like who would care about this. But the reviews, this movie came out August 2nd. Here we are in September. I heard people saying, hey, it's actually pretty decent. Not only that, but people were heralding the animation style. Mm-hmm. And this coming in the same year that we've had Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And so it's like, that movie, everybody's talking about how innovative even the second film was. And then people were saying, hey, well, this is some pretty good competition. So, yeah, I decided to check it out with you. I did like it. I think a big part of that probably is the animation style, just because it was different to me. I don't think I'd really seen things like this before. So that made me appreciate it. And also, I don't want to give anything away with the movie. I mean, like you said, it is kind of an origin story, and the big bad guy is Superfly. But the way they handled, I guess, good guy versus bad guy expectation from the cartoon, I had in my head who was definitely good guys, who were definitely bad guys. And they play with that a little bit. And I was like, hey, that is so not terribly beholden to the source material. Now, I don't know if that's true to the comic books or anything. All I'm basing it off of is the cartoon and the video game. Mm-hmm. So, but I appreciated that innovation to me. I was like, oh, okay, awesome. So, and I guess before throwing it back to you and your thoughts, because you kind of set up how you were feeling beforehand, animation style to me, which I say is like the number one positive. To me, if it was claymation, but hand-drawn on top of that, if that makes any sense. So it was like hand-drawn claymation, which sounds kind of weird. I was going to
describe the animation style for people listening. So, yeah, it is computer animated. Just go ahead and get that out the way. But, yes, it does look as close as I think right now computers can simulate. It's a blend of claymation, hand-drawn look on top of CGI. So it's an odd look, and I will admit the first couple of minutes is a little. I had to kind of get my brain adjusted to it to see it, but after that, yes, I do really appreciate the animation style. I think it really helped the film. And, yes, it borrowed a little bit from the Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, I think that, the original one kind of gave a blueprint for people to say, hey, look, we can actually do animation with computers different. It doesn't have to be all these perfect surfaces and these glossy porcelain-looking characters. We can have a little more interest with it, and they did with this. I like the fact that it was basically the one style that they adopted for the film, although they did bring in other media too. There were like live action clips and other things they brought in, so it's had a little playfulness with the format too.
Right.
But it worked. It worked for the style movie. I think it worked really well there. I had a blast with this movie.
Oh, good.
I really liked this movie. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was entertaining. I really had a good time with it. I think what worked with this film for me is
Going in with extremely low expectations.
well, there's that because I did. But two, the actors they had playing the four turtles. You could tell they were younger. They just had some great enthusiasm. You really got to know each of the four characters after a little while. Their personality types. I feel like it's the most defined that these characters have been from the little bits of things I've seen in other media.
Sure.
And the humor's great. I think I don't know if I credit Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg for that. I would assume so as writers. They just really. They brought that level of humor to it where, yes, this is a PG movie, but there was enough humor in it that crossed generations very easily. Now, I will say there's a sequence in the film that's probably my favorite sequence is about a third of the way through the film.
Okay.
It is a montage fight sequence. I don't know if it was to the song No Diggity. It might have been.
I think it was.
But it was them kind of doing a beat down on some different crime bosses or crime people in the area trying to get... And just the way it was put together, it was funny. It was just really well done. It was kind of thrilling to watch. It was a great sequence. That once I got to that point in the movie, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm on board. I got this. And thought it was really fun. I really like what they did with, is it April is the character?
Yes. Played by
April O'Neil.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. She's a mainstay, right? She's
Puke,
always been around.
Not Puke Boy or Puke Girl.
Puke Girl. April O'Neil, she's been in the Turtles universe for
I believe so,
right?
since the beginning. Yeah, I think so, yeah.
She's kind of their human confidant, their partner, and a reporter. They play her as a high school student who's just really into journalism, played by Ayoya Adebiri from The Bear, which she's getting a lot of, and from Bottoms that we'll be, I think, talking about here soon as well. And she's great. I love the depiction and style that they gave April O'Neil. Just it just worked for me. And so look, I really had a lot of fun. I thought it was great. And according to the credits, this is the first appearance of an actor named Paul Rudd. I don't know if you saw that in the in the credits. It's like in introducing Paul Rudd as the Gecko, Mondo Gecko. Some really fun characters. Some of the mutant characters, Ray Fillet, which I just had a blast with, always singing his name, played by Post Malone, which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd as Mondo Gecko was great. And then you had Ice Cube as Superfly, the main villain, which he seemed to be having a lot of fun with this as well. So yeah, it was a fun movie. It was just unique enough to set it apart from what would have been any other CGI animated movie of this genre. And Jackie Chan as Splinter, their father / mentor.
Sure.
A very different depiction of Splinter from what I remember seeing in other media.
Yeah, I mean, granted, it's been a while, but yes, I feel like it was kind of an semi-original take on that as well. So
yeah. So overall, look, I had a really fun time with this movie. I'm actually kind of tempted to watch it again.
Okay.
Sometime. If they make a sequel, which I hope they do, and kind of follow up, I'm totally on board with that as well. So yeah, bring it on. I'm a fan now.
Well, good. I think you and I are both on the same page. To me, what really helped was, as far as I know, I was unaware of the voice cast of the four turtles. Mm-hmm. They were, as you mentioned, like younger teenagers. So it wasn't like it was nice to have the main characters of the film not be voiced by actors you were familiar with, because often in these movies it's kind of stunt casting. the ones that I recognize right off the bat, you already mentioned Ayo Edebiri as April O'Neil, and I thought she was good. I recognized Jackie Chan as Splinter, but I thought he was good because he's known to be kind of comedic anyway, so that kind of helped. And my favorite cameo that was obvious, because it was obvious, it was the Paul Rudd as Mondo guy. And like he was still, I think he was actually playing with the Paul Rudd persona of being like Mr. Nice Guy. And it, like he seemed to be having a lot of fun. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed that. But I think having unknowns in the 4 main roles, I think really helped kind of not distract you and not see it as stunt casting. And I, like you, I was really surprised. I thought the only thing I would really get out of it was, oh, okay, this was a truly innovative kind of animation style, but the movie was actually enjoyable as well.
Yeah,
so
it was good. It was it had just enough heart to it, which, I mean, animated movies, I mean, I think Pixar's taught us that you can instill a level of heart into just about any movie anytime.
Sure.
But this one, I think this one earns it by the end. I think I do buy it. But combining action sequences, which were really fun to watch, with really good humor, which it was funny, with some good heart and emotion, which was just the right balance of it, layered on top of a very innovative animation style that was engaging, kept your attention. It was a perfect mix of stuff.
I think my only slight misgiving, but as we've said many times on the podcast, I understand movie making is a business. I was really, along with the ride for 100% for the film. And then there's a little bit of a credit tease. Yeah. And I saw that and I was like, because I thought it was kind of a goofy part of the original series. And they kind of hinted at that. And I did see on Letterboxd that supposedly they have a teaser poster for the second film already. So they will be making a sequel.
Yeah. Well, I'm okay with the fact they're making a sequel because I did enjoy this enough.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of room you can play with on this for another sequel. You talked about with the branding of the name. We were talking offline about the fact that they didn't just call this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, even though it is an adventure dealing with these whole mutants that are being made, this army of mutants under the leadership of Superfly.
Right.
So I get it. That is kind of the subtitle of the film. But it does spend like the first, half or third of the movie kind of retelling origin story and kind of you get acclimated to the characters. So this could have been just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think problem is they've already had 3 or 4 of movies, like almost with that exact same title. So it's like, all right, we got to set this apart. I do wonder if like the tagline Mutant Mayhem at the end of the movie, there might be a little bit of might push some people away that are like not fans of the franchise already. And they're just like, oh, well, this is just some other new adventure movie. And you have to already know the characters to kind of enjoy it. And I think the message is, no, you don't. I mean, it does a really good job of setting everything up for you from minute one. So you don't have to go into this with any any awareness of the mutant Ninja Turtles in their history beforehand. So I think that worked okay.
An aspect of the film that I heard a little bit of an interview with Seth Rogen, and apparently he was a huge fan. This kind of, you said that this didn't really hit in your wheelhouse because you were a little bit too old.
He's a little younger. So
and this hit like him square. He's been a huge fan forever. And something he wanted to kind of approach with the film, which for me, I thought he kind of succeeded, was focusing on the Turtles' teenage aspect, like how they are kind of dorky teens and nerdy. But, they become heroes, but still, they're kind of the teenageness. And that's something that I do feel he did achieve and that it made it kind of unique on its own because, they're, they want to be popular. They want to go to high school. They want to talk to girls. They want to do all that, all that kind of stuff. They want to sneak out late and go do fun stuff without their dad knowing. I mean, it's, very a teenage type film. So that made it enjoyable and unique.
I think it all worked really, really well. I'm shocked and surprised how much I enjoyed the movie.
Cool. To
the fact that I got to the end of the movie and, we were watching this on digital on demand, because it's available on demand as of right now. And so I was able to go back and rewind to a couple scenes I thought were fun. It worked. It was very, very fun. And again, I think the humor is top notch. I think I cracked up laughing many, many times throughout this film. So color me surprised, color me impressed. Good job on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. Plus, it hits the Chris Fry test of hour 39 minutes. So
Yes.
kept it pretty fairly succinct.
Yeah.
Didn't feel the need to go into the 2.5 hour blockbuster level. I think the Spider-Verse movie was like over 2 hours, right? It was 2.5
The
hours.
second, yeah.
The most recent
right.
one, yeah.
I feel like you're right.
Yeah, so they kept this one lean, which was nice. So that is, as I just mentioned, it's still playing in movie theaters as of right now, some theaters, and it's available now for purchase, soon to be rental, or maybe rental as well, but high price rental. It'll be available for a little bit more affordable rental probably in the next few weeks. But yeah, we're saying, hey, give it a shot. It was actually a lot of fun and a good, well-made movie. So there you go.
Awesome.
Most surprising review of the year here on Foot Candle Films. That's great. All right, Chris, let's take a quick little break. We come back. We've got some news and recommendations to share with everybody. So stay tuned. You're listening to Foot Candle Films here on themesh.tv, and we will be right back.
This podcast is sponsored by Jackson Creative, a custom communication agency located in downtown Hickory, North Carolina, specializing in online content creation. To learn more, visit thejacksoncreative.com. Jackson Creative, we tell your story.
Welcome back to Foot Candle Films here on the Mesh.tv podcast network. You heard our first part of the show where we were both pleasantly surprised and fans of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, surprisingly enough. Good movie, a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and move on into some news items though, Chris.
Sure.
We kind of do a grab bag here in the latter half of the show where it's just either I'll throw some news items out there, you may have a recommendation to share of a film. So we'll do both of those here. I like looking to see, especially when the big festivals are kind of coming into town. We've got Telluride that's going on right now. Always looking to see what new films are premiering there. That means that we'll have a chance as audiences to see those films here in the coming months. So we've got one coming up that I honestly, before yesterday, Chris, had not heard of, did not know anything about. But now I'm terribly, terribly interested. So a film, Jeff Nichols, director that you know.
Yeah.
You know the director, Jeff Nichols. Take Shelter was one of the first big movies that he did that was really good. He's done several others since then. I think he did, was it Midnight Express was a film. What was the most recent Jeff Nichols film?
Oh my goodness. He did Mud, but that was much older.
Yeah.
Take Shelter, Midnight Express.
Hold on. I'm going to get you on this.
Yeah. Oh, no.
He did Loving.
Loving. Okay.
Yeah. But as far as like the most recent one, I mean, he's, boy.
I mean, I thought maybe Loving was his last, but maybe he has.
That was 2016.
So it's been a little bit.
So, well, Midnight Special also was 2016.
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess he hasn't done a movie since Loving, which is really surprising. His debut was Shotgun Stories back in 2007. So Shotgun Stories, Take Shelter, Mud, Midnight Special, Loving. I feel like we're missing something. Anyway, we'll come back to that later. Regardless, he does have a movie out now, coming out. That's called The Bike Riders. The Bike Riders is starring Austin Butler, you may know as Elvis. Austin Butler is in this. Jodie Comer, who Killing Eve, it's a TV show she was kind of got famous on. She's been in several other movies since then. I think she was in the Ryan Reynolds comedy, what was it? The guy, the video game. He's
Free
inside
Guy.
Free Guy. That's it. She was in Free Guy as well. Tom Hardy is in this movie. Michael Shannon, obviously, seems to be his go-to guy.
Sure.
And even Norman Reedus from The Talking Dead, or Walking Dead, not Talking Dead. The Walking Dead. The zombies don't talk. It's Walking Dead. So this movie is, it's actually, it does say right here, I should have read this rest of this article. First film since 2016, Midnight Special. So they say Midnight Special came out after Loving Dead.
Gotcha.
Here's the synopsis of the film. It's inspired by Danny Lyon's iconic book of photography. It's called The Bike Riders. Immerses you in the look, feel, and sounds of bare-knuckled, grease-covered subculture of the 1960s motorcycle riders. Kathy, played by Jodie Comer, a strong-willed member of the Vandals who's married to a wild, reckless bike rider named Benny, played by Austin Butler, recounts the Vandals' evolution over the course of a decade, beginning as a local club of outsiders united by good times, rumbling bikes, and respect for their strong, steady leader, Johnny, played by Tom Hardy. So it's based on a book of photography, and I actually looked up to see some of the photography, and it's great, great images. But it's been now developed into a film.
Huh.
So I am, it's a 1960s period piece.
Sounds like kind of a take on Easy Rider, but maybe more visual Easy Rider type film. It's interesting.
Possibly. There is a trailer out. I haven't watched it yet. I thought maybe we could do that here on the show, and that
please.
would get a sense of what this movie is looking like. It is coming out in theaters December 1st.
Okay.
So I wanted to bring it up because we like Jeff Nichols.
We do.
I like all of his films, and I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't done anything in like 7 years now. So nice to see another film coming out. I like Austin Butler. I think he was really great in Elvis. I like Jodie Comer, I like Tom Hardy. I like this cast in general. So, and it being based on that initial photography book, yes, I'm very, very.
I could see how if you're basing a movie on a photography book, I could see how it could take you 8 years to come up with a script. Or because I think we know what it's going to look like, but what are we going to have them say?
Yeah, right. Sure.
Yeah, I could see that. So we'll see.
Well, let's take a look at the trailer for
Sure.
The Bike Riders and see what we think about this film here. So here we go. Here's the trailer.
I've been thinking I can't run this club forever. I built this from nothing. This is our family. You and me, kid.
All right. So that was the trailer for The Bike Riders. And Chris, any thoughts after seeing that now? Any opinions?
So yeah, definitely still a Easy Rider vibe, but almost Easy Rider as told by Martin Scorsese making a mob movie.
Yeah,
I got the same
vibe.
was a show that I never saw, Sons of Anarchy, I believe was in it. Was that about bicycle gangs? Okay, so I never saw that, but maybe taking some of that energy and kind of putting that here. So, and then Tom Hardy doing his best Marlon Brando kind of voice, which I like Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that kind of gave me that vibe. So, and Rebel Without a Cause, little James Dean thrown in there. So I guess Austin Butler would kind of be given that vibe. Yeah, interesting. Now, what's the name of the fellow who seems to be... So it seems like they're doing this kind of as a flashback of somebody telling the story of this bicycle
Jodie Comer's
gang.
character seems to be getting interviewed kind of as a retrospective about the story. And
By Mike Feist.
Yep, Mike Feist, yeah.
Which I didn't realize he was in the film at all. So, as you said before, great cast. I am interested. So...
Yeah, I think so. Just one little tidbit I read about with this. So Nichols, they screened this film at the Telluride Film Festival. It was the opening film out there, and they're also screening at the London Film Festival in October. He says the cast did most of their own writing on period correct bikes, so that was good.
Okay,
and also saying that Tom Hardy, he says, was a quote force on screen in the role. He's like, Tom doesn't strike me as an actor, certainly not in the traditional sense. He's like a hurricane or a tornado. You just sit back and watch. But when you have all that, he vibrates. Okay, I understand that quote. Sorry. Sorry, Jeff. But this is all coming from IndieWire, by the way. Just they did the interview and posted up an article about this film. So anyway, I'm very curious, very excited.
Yeah, me too. I think
it looks really
happy
good.
to see another Jeff Nichols film. So.
I'm same way. Think it'd be good. So that is The Bike Riders, and that is coming out December 1st in theaters only. So we will look forward to seeing that and talking about that soon. Cool. Chris, you have a recommendation of a film for us? Is that what I understand?
Yes. We have reviewed an animated film earlier in the show, and so I'm going to recommend an animated film that came out. It came out exclusively on Netflix. It was called Nimona, and it is based on, from what I understand, a graphic novel. I have not read said graphic novel, but it tells the story of a knight who's framed for a crime, and kind of gets outcast. And then he teams up with a shape-shifting teen named Nimona to try to prove his innocence.
Okay.
Riz Ahmed is the voice of the knight, and Chloe Grace Moretz plays or gives the voice to Nimona. And it was good. I think the animation was interesting, nowhere near like Turtles or, Spider-Verse, but it was, interesting enough. And it was kind of set in this weird, there are knights, but it's also kind of like a futuristic time. So it's this weird blending to try to present like a reality or a world that you're thrown into. But I enjoyed it. I will say what also struck me was, I don't know if we ever discussed it on the show per se, but Strange World by Disney received a lot of hubbub and adverse reactions because of depictions of LGBTQ representation. To me, it was like if Disney said, "Hey, Disney, hold my beer," and then they made this movie because there's definitely, representation is kind of a storyline or a thread in there, but I enjoyed it. So if you have Netflix, I would recommend you check it out. It is a 2023 release, so it's relatively new, but that's Nimona on Netflix.
On Netflix, again, I'm still... Netflix is still very perplexing to me because it's have
hard to
so
find
much
stuff.
content, and there's just so hard to see anything that's new and interesting. I really question how they decide to promote anything on there and let people know about it. So, because again, I'd never heard about this, didn't know anything about this film.
Sure.
Sounds interesting, but never would have known anything about it on Netflix floating out there like that. So that's my one concern with a lot of these films going to Netflix as premieres is that it's tough to get people to be aware of it because I don't know how well Netflix does their advertising outside of the actual platform. And then once you get into the platform, it's just really, really hard to find anything. So,
Right.
All right. Well, that's good. Nimona.
Yeah, and I think, I saw this film, a month, 2 months ago maybe, and I think you're right. I think the reason I happened to know it was there was it happened to be a new release maybe that week. And so it was kind of like on the banner. So I was like, oh, what's that? And I saw like Riz Ahmed's name. I was like, oh, okay. So I watched it and I liked it. But then, I've been on Netflix several times since then, and it has poof.
Yeah.
It hasn't disappeared. It's still on there
It's almost
somewhere.
like if you're not there the couple of days it premieres, you're not going to be able to find it very easily. So it's a shame. It is a shame. All right. Well, that is Chris's recommendation of the film Nimona on Netflix, animated film he is recommending you check out. And of course, I mentioned the Bike Riders coming December 1st. We're going to be eagerly looking forward to that, and I'm sure reviewing it when it comes out in December as well. So I think that's all we've got for today, Chris. We did our review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which we both really enjoyed and had a good time with. And then we did our news and recommendations. So given all of that, Chris, how can people get a hold of us if they have any comments, questions, feedback, or their own input? Were they a fan of the Mutant Ninja Turtles movie? Right. Were they surprised as much as I was?
They thought Vanilla Ice should have been giving a supporting actor for his role in Secret of the Ooze. Maybe.
All right, so that does bring up something. So, and that would be kind of groan-worthy if they did something with the sequel to this movie.
And
they do either some little cameo or some little callback. I mean, I guess it could be funny if handled right, but anyway, we'll see.
Sure. So if you have ideas for a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sequel that don't include Vanilla Ice, send us an email to info@footcandle.org. You can also follow us on the website formerly known as Twitter, @FootCandleFilm, Facebook, Foot Candle Film Society. We're also on Instagram and Threads @FootCandleFilm. Do us a favor. If you like the show, give it a star rating, write a review, share with your friends on whatever service you receive your favorite podcast on, because it'll help us reach new listeners, and we would appreciate that. Okay, Alan mentioned at the beginning of the show. I'll be remiss if I don't mention it here at the end. The 2023 Foot Candle Film Festival is fast approaching. September 15th through the 24th, we've got lots of films planned. You can go to our website at footcandlefilmfestival.com and get tickets and also see information about the different movies and events that we're going to have. We really encourage you, if you are in the Western North Carolina area, please come and check it out.
Yes, it's going to be a really good time. Like Chris said, a lot of events planned, a lot of things happening. So it's going to be fun. Please do come check it out, footcandlefilmfestival.com. And we hope to see you in Western North Carolina later this month. All right, Chris. Well, we're going to wrap it up then. So thanks, everybody, for listening. We will look forward to talking to you about some new films and reviews the next time we get together. Until then, take care. We'll see you later.
See you in the ticket line.
Watch films in the company of like-minded people in the dark. Watch films in the underground. We won't let anyone know where you are. The films that don't make it to Carmike at the mall, or ones that were famous when Grandpa would watch films out of the reverence of the heritage of an art. Watch films through the courtesy of Foot Candle Film Society.
Special thanks to Carpal Tuller for the show theme music. For more about Carpal Tuller, visit www.carpaltuller.com. You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.